Use your eyes. Look with your eyes. Don't go with your heart. The heart is a very bad thing. Well, it's very good. It's very bad in some ways.
How did you first get into television?
Purely by chance.
Really?
It was one of these. I never wanted to be on television. It wasn't one of these things. I've always wanted to be an auctioneer, no question. And I was working for a sale room in Bath at the time, and I was a very junior auctioneer, 26. So yeah, just a bit older than you. And just got on the rostrum. Bargain Hunt came to visit us, and they said, "We've got this new show. The dates work for your next sale. Would you accommodate us?" This was 2000. Would you accommodate us? Do you have an auctioneer who'd like to do it? And my manager at the time, this lady called Lynn, said, "Yeah, we've got Thomas." I met the producer, who came to sort of have a chat about what they did, how it would work, and basically bought myself a new shirt, a new tie, a new suit for the day. And then when it was all booked in to do the filming, so I was all ready to go. And then in walks David, and his sartorial elegance sort of blew me away, as only David Dickinson could. And the rest is history. I can't watch those shows back, to be honest with you.
Really?
I can't watch them back. I was so rude about all the items that people had bought. I was just hideous. It's really embarrassing. It's one of those hide behind the sofa moments. I had huge sideburns.
Did you?
Massive sideburns, yeah.
Was it the 70s or?
Now, hang on a minute. It was the 2000s, Megan. It was in. Sideburns were in.
Oh, lovely.
Or maybe they weren't. Or maybe it was just a thing I kept from the 90s. Yeah, weird. Anyway, it's 26. So there it is. There it was. And basically, the rest is history from that day on. I did the day's filming and then the auction. And I got a phone call 2-3 months later. I thought nothing of it. I literally thought nothing of it and thought, well, is this going to be, it will go out. I'd done a bit of TV before. As in, a bit of sort of antique TV. And then, in my youth, I think we walked down the steps of, you're too young to remember this, but there was a children's television program called Rainbow, and with Zippy, Bungle and George.
I know Zippy.
You know Zippy, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we walked down the steps of the aeroplane in Rainbow as a family. And then I was, and I did a bit of TV filming when I was skiing years ago. When I was a child, when I was about 12, 11, 12, I think. Yeah, would have been 12. Anyway, so yeah, I thought nothing of it. I thought, do you know what? If this I didn't even think it would come off as an expert. And they phoned me up and they said, yeah, we like you as an expert. You seem to know what you're doing. Would you like to be on TV? Would you like to be one of Bargain Hunt's experts? The rest is basically history. 21 years later. Which auctioneer or antiques expert inspired you growing up? Well, it kind of ties into why I wanted to be an auctioneer. Because my dad's a farmer, or was a farmer. He's still alive, but he doesn't do any much farming now. He was a farmer. We used to farm cattle. So I used to go to the cattle auctions. And the reason why I suppose the cattle auctioneer inspired me is that they were clean. They weren't dirty, they weren't with all the cow shit. And they were well dressed. So they weren't wearing bloody stinky overalls and having to deal with the beasts. And they're up there and they're in charge of everything. So it was, that idea of the person in charge. I was really young. I was sort of 7, 8. My dad at 9, maybe. Yeah, 9. Yeah, really young. My dad said, he's probably the richest man in the room. I mean, that was a lie because all the farmers were there. I mean, a farmer's never poor. because he was selling the cows in the Guinea. So really, I didn't sit at home and watch Lovejoy. No, and I used to watch the Antiques Roadshow, but there was nobody sort of, there's no sort of nobody there who I would have thought, yeah, I want to be like that.
Mm.
I just thought it looked like quite a cool job, but I didn't want to sell cattle because it's really, very quick. And I thought, well, what else do they sell? And he said, well, they sell antiques. And I liked history, and I liked the arts, and I, did all the arts at school. So yeah, great, brilliant. Absolutely great. So that's the inspiring. Yeah. What is your top tip for spotting a high-valued antique bargain? That's a difficult one, Megan. Do you go out antique shopping?
Not necessarily antique shopping. I like going to like second-hand stores and seeing what they have, particularly kind of older, more vintage second-hand stores to look at the furniture and all the different items, not as much kind of clothes. But I think it's difficult for people to see something and know whether it's a high-value item or not.
I think you do it inadvertently. Because when you're looking at that vintage piece of furniture, you're thinking, are the proportions right? Does it look good? Yeah, do those drawers, have they made those in that sideboard, the right size for the slide? If you're buying one of those vintage teak sideboards, there's normally drawers on one side, slidey doors on the other. No, the drawers too long, or they're not too long. So the whole idea about buying a high value antique is look at the quality. Is it done to the correct proportions? Are they fixed there? Are they? So it's not a case of, I know that's a good item because of X, Y, and Z. Well, there is that, and the history and the actual, the history of the item, what the item is, and the quality of the item will make it more valuable. But does it look right for a start? And the second thing you could always say is provenance. I mean, does that makes all the difference? If it was owned by King George III, well, then it's always going to be more valuable than if it was owned by Tom Smith, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those, and it's got to look right. So what's my top tip? Use your eyes. Look with your eyes. Don't go with your heart. The heart is a very bad thing. Well, it's very good. It's very bad in some ways.